Greetings. Welcome to the Dr. Muhammad Experience. I am Dr. Bahia Muhammad, Assistant Professor of Criminology at Howard University in the Department of Sociology. I am excited today to introduce you to our book exhibit where we have both author and publisher to be able to engage in a critical dialogue around the importance of receiving information from directly impacted individuals and to be able to make it available to those individuals at large. Today, we're going to be talking about Mommy and Daddy is in Time Out, and this concept of education over incarceration. I would like to introduce you to Kristal Bush, and she is going to share a little bit about herself and the work that she's doing currently.
Hi guys, my name is Kristal Bush, as Dr. Muhammad has said, and I co-authored this book with my nephew, who is also my son. I adopted him as well, and it was really a story about Mommy and Daddy in Time Out. I got him when he was like 6 years old, and he's now 15, but when he was younger and I had the prison van service, I would, kind of like tell him like that his parents was away, but not tell him that they were in prison. So I would use the terminology like, oh, Mommy is in timeout, or, Daddy is in timeout. And then as he got older, of course, he started asking more questions. He started asking, well, if I'm in timeout, I don't, I just go to a corner. I don't just go away to prison. So I decided to just really just start writing this book. And I just used his experience. So as I was typing, just asking him, how did he feel at this moment? Just to get his true feelings into the story, so we can just document what it is to really have both of your parents incarcerated. And he ended up being in foster care due to both of his parents being incarcerated. And by me being a social worker, I knew what it was like to, one, firsthand, my father was incarcerated. So I knew what it was like to have a parent that was incarcerated. So what better way? Like, I have to save my own family. So I took him in at the age of 6 when my brother was sentenced to 10 to 20. And he was locked up as soon as he was born. So I took him in because his mom was in and out of prison as well. And from there, I had him since he's 15 now, so I had him all those years. And of course, the conversation changed. But when he first came into my care, it was more so like I didn't want to tell him the honest truth of where his parents were. So I would use the language of they're in timeout, or they'll be home, or they're away in college, as opposed to just putting like that negative, or they're in prison.
Thank you. Thank you so much for that. And Michelle, can you please introduce yourself as well?
Yes, indeed. Hello, I'm Michelle Greer. I am the publisher assisting Kristal Bush on this awesome book. My publishing company is Just Right for Kids. I felt that it was real important to help her, not only because she's my friend and a fellow queen, but just to get the message out and to see, people that look like me find different ways to explain things to our children instead of being so harsh and negative, because they need that extra care sometimes. The buzz phrase now is mental health, which is just should be a staple. I feel as though this is a part of that movement also, because these children, they have a lot on their plate. They want to be kids, just, but they have this situation hanging over them. Their parents aren't around. So it was a pleasure to work with Kristal on this book because it was so necessary.
It definitely is. And when you look at the plethora of books, specifically for children of incarcerated parents, oftentimes you don't see the images and faces of Black and brown children.
Exactly.
And so I'm so excited that you all have decided to go in that direction. In looking at the pre-orders for the book, I saw some amazing artwork. Can you please share with me the story behind that?
I'll show the pictures, and I'll have Kristal. She has contact with the illustrator and knows the story.
The book been completed. Like, we wrote the book about 2 years ago. And of course, I could have just hired any illustrator. But even for my prison van service, Bridging a Gap, it was a person who was incarcerated who did my logo. So just knowing how, creative the men and women that are behind bars, I wanted to, use their talent. And the illustrator, his name is Omar Dennis. He's a juvenile lifer. He's been locked up since he was 17. He's now in his 40s. He's scheduled to come home. And I just, just been having them conversations, you know, when you get out, you're an illustrator now, you know, this can really be what you do. Like you can start drawing for other people. Like this can be the path that you can choose as you get out. So I was very intentional about this. It was hard, you know, communicating and, you know, approving drawings, you know, through the mail. But at the same time, I was very intentional that I wanted the illustrator to be someone that was incarcerated so we can start, you know, sharing his story.
Wow, there's so much love that went into this actual publication. I don't even want to call it a publication. It's like a piece of the divine God, you know? It's amazing that you all were able to be patient enough to get each and every one of them through the mail and kind of going back and forth. Now that the book is at this phase of pre-orders and ready to hit, you know, the ground, how does it feel?
It feels good, you know. But like I told Michelle, I was like, I don't want to rush it. I feel like the time, like when it's ready, is ready. You know, we don't want to rush anything. So we kind of like slow walked it, and even like she just had patience with me, you know. We even been waiting for like months just to get a photo from the illustrator, and he just even said like, I don't even take photos. The only photos that I take is me flexing in the gym, and I'm like, oh, we don't want those. So like even just having patience with, you know, just communicating back and forth with the prisons. Like at first, some of our illustrators got lost. You know, he had to redo things. So it was just, oh my God, like, you know, of course, having to get back to the drawing board. The cover was misspelled. So we had to, you know, so it would take like 2 to 4 weeks just for him to draw it, to paint it, to order the supplies while he was in there, then to mail it out. So it really was a lot of thought that went in. But I'm thankful because here it is. He's scheduled to even just be released after serving like 20 something years in prison in November. And now he has something to look forward to.
Wow,
So,
sis, you just
so
blessing people all over the place. And I think this is just so fitting as it relates to this conference on success and on resiliency, because I'm telling you, I have to get you all on camera to talk, because words cannot dictate the ability that you have to shift the dialogue of the community. I mean, you're doing the work. Like, who would think that you picking yourself up, picking this individual up, helping this individual, it is the epitome of what we need to be doing as a Black community. And Queen, I thank you. I really, you know, bow down to you and thank you for that. Michelle, if you could just share with us a little bit about what the process is for those individuals who may be children of incarcerated parents here at the conference, or even professors that are interested in publishing in this way, or directly impacted individuals who are participating in this virtual conference. What should they do in order to get started? And are you available if they were interested in contacting you for that?
Oh, absolutely. I'm available. The process is pretty easy. I say that because when you have a passion for getting a message out, you can accomplish anything. And I hold people's hand through the whole process. You know, I support them 100%. You know, we start off basically with them just bleeding on the paper, expressing everything you feel on the paper. Just get it all out. And I have them format, outline everything as far as editing, everything that's involved with publishing a book, setting up your platform, go through the order. Just even making sure they get their ISBN, their barcodes, to make everything legit, and that they have their credit, you know, for the work they put in, and making sure they're clear on their message also. You know, it's not that difficult of a process, especially with the way I work with my clients. As Kristal said, I'm very patient. You know, not everyone's a writer or have the support or had the experience of writing or expressing their feelings on paper. That's just the way I used to communicate all the time. I wasn't that well of a vocal person to just speak on, like now. You ask me questions, or I can write it out and send you a message, I'll be on point. So I know there are others like me. And, but yeah, it's a simple process. I help people, you know, get to that. Like Kristal's one of my many clients who have books for children of color. And they struggle with the process because they have a lot of other things going on. Kristal, she's a dynamic woman. She's not just, you know, education over incarceration. She's the van service, as she's mentioned, you know, bridging the gap. she's so supportive of everyone else. And like, I'm like whenever you're done, sis, I'm ready, you know? She's so supportive of my movement also with helping kids with creative writing. So we've, as far as the publishing, like it's a simple process, in my opinion. I can help make it simple for everyone else too.
Absolutely. That's great. And I may need to take y'all up on this offer. I feel like we need to co-publish something together. We need to write something together because I want to definitely help with the movement. So, keep me abreast of however I can be of service to you all.
Sure.
Can you talk a little bit, Kristal, about education over incarceration? When you say that, is it speaking to individuals just going to school, or is it a lot deeper than that?
So education over incarceration, I used to ask myself, I actually started education over incarceration for the van service because I allowed the children to ride my service for free. So I needed people who didn't need to go to the prison, but they still wanted to support the movement. So I'm like, oh, okay, education over incarceration. But just to dive deeper in, I used to always question, like, well, darn, if me and my brothers grew up in the same household, I ended up going to college and they ended up going to prison. So I used to really just like dive deep into it, and really it's just based off of choices, it's based off of gender, it's based off of, I was the youngest, I was the only girl, so my mom had more patience with me. So really it was me just choosing education over everything. Like, I was one of the first in my family to go to college, so it was just like, okay, I know what it's like to not go to college. I know what it's like to only get my high school diploma. Let me see what it's like to go, like, do more. And even with my nephew, like, even now with that college, it's virtual, I'm still pushing to him, like, yo, education is everything. Like, I'm even thinking about going back for my MBA. Like, education is something that they cannot take away from you. And even it's like going to Morgan and then transferring to Temple. It just, you see the diversity, you just see, like, that's what molded me. So regardless of how people like just down college and, oh my God, it's just a waste, it's like, no, education is really like where I found myself, like going to college. And I remember in high school, like, it was my teachers that helped mold me. So it's like, we always, like, now it's just like, oh, start a business, you don't need college, you don't need, and it's like, no, yes, you do. You need college, you need high school, like, you need to take advantage of all of this, because at each step in each moment, whether you're in high school, middle school, college, whether you're in graduate school, we need it, and it molds us to be. So it's really just, and I also seen in Philly, I seen that they was like shutting schools down and they was just sending more people to prison. So I'm like, yo, like, who was going to like speak and represent that we need to invest more into our education as opposed to the incarceration, So that's kind of like where it stands off, like, for me, but it's just more so just really just taking it deep, like, okay, sis, you went to college, how can you really like transcend this message onto other people? People see that you got these businesses and they just think that it's just the entrepreneur, but really that is the school, is everything that I went through. Like, it was me, like, even now I'm still cool with like my professors, or I'm still cool and have my high school teachers on speed dial. So it's like, like, is the relationships that we build. And it just, for education, is those people that was in that atmosphere that helped mold me. So, because it wasn't really, not saying that it wasn't in my family, I didn't see it, or it wasn't like really just preached. Like, I ended up in college because I was forging my mom's signatures, because she didn't know about college. She didn't know about FAFSA. She didn't know, about none of that. For my mom, it was just, just go to high school, get your diploma, and that's it. And I'm like, okay, but if I get my high school diploma, I see how my brothers are even going to prison. I don't want that. I want more. So yeah, it's really just, keeping my eye on education, and really it helped mold me. So that's the same thing that I'm just, telling my nephew, like, even though you're homeschooled right now, still focusing on that education, even though it's a little watered down, you can do more on your own. You don't just take in what the schools is giving you, use this, see how it's molded, and then just learn from it, learn from the experience. But, education is everything.
Yeah.
I agree.
Yeah. So how was your experience at an HBCU? Did that help you in honing in on, this importance of Black books and, just self-reflecting and self-love? Was that space an opportunity to engage in that?
So I started out at Morgan State. I did my freshman year there. But being as I was out of state, back then I already knew, okay, so you mean to tell me the same degree that I can get from Temple, which is $20,000 cheaper, is going to be, it just didn't work well. So even though I graduated from Temple, I still was on Morgan campus just for the culture, the lifestyle. So my friends were still at Morgan. So I was going to class, but I was going to their library, to but it's like, because that was the culture. But I would say that Temple, the diversity that Temple gave me opened my eyes up to that's when I realized that it wasn't normal for all the men in my family to be in prison. I was in a criminal justice, class, and, Bobby is over here, his dad and his mom, they're judges, they're lawyers. Whereas when I was at Morgan, it was like, oh, first day of school, it says, why are you majoring in criminal justice? And I'm like, well, my dad locked up, my brother's locked up. And, everybody that's in our class, we had that same similar story. So Temple opened my eyes up to the diversity, but I just love the culture and just the, just the atmosphere of being on the HBCU. It's just that it was just more expensive because I was out of state.
Right, and you have both experienced best of both worlds now. And then one of the questions that I would ask is, would you be interested in, you said you were interested in your MBA. Did you ever think about PhD or, master's of?
I did.
You did? Yeah, well, consider our program. We are the only PhD in sociology at an HBCU. And the work that you do fits right into the work that I'm doing. I'm always trying to get those individuals that are directly impacted to see the power behind the work when your hand touches it. Because it's one thing for mine as a directly impacted person, but you with your nephew and with your son, with all of these things that you're doing, I think that's something that maybe you can consider. Is there a message that you want to give to our audience? In the audience today, we have individuals from all different walks of life. We have incarcerated parents who are participating, formerly incarcerated individuals directly impacted through parental incarceration as well as familial incarceration, scholars from across the nation, researchers, professors, and just regularly community individuals. They are in and listening, and I just want to give you an opportunity to send whatever message you may have.
Yeah, so the message that I would really just send is it's not one person's problem. It really takes a village to raise us all up. And if it wasn't for my village of my friends, their parents, my teachers, just the people that I came in contact with, I really wouldn't be the person. So it's like, I think we always point the finger as it's your problem or it's your problem. No, it's our problem. Yes. And I feel like if we see that as a kid, if we see that a kid has a parent that's incarcerated, let's just water that kid a little bit, and because you'll be surprised. Like, somebody like me might be birthed, or my nephew. Like, I think the more like we look at it as it's not our problem or it's not in our family, so it's not our problem. And really it can be like, incarceration is not exempt from no one. Anyone can can really end up in prison. And I always ask myself, if I was in my brother's shoes and I had kids, I would want one of them. I would want someone to take my kids in. Just because I did one wrong, I would want someone to take my kids in. And I think the beautiful thing is now my nephew knows who his parents are. He wasn't lost in the system. I didn't do this to, just take and be this mom. No, he now can go spend time with his mom, so it's like really just keeping that family connected. And really, I think just because we experience like our parents incarcerated, we have so much resilience and we just so much success that can come from out of our story, and just really just us embracing our story, So I think the message that I would just say that it just really just takes a village, and just because that one parent made that one mistake, it takes the professors, it takes everyone on all different levels that really can just pour in and just nurture that child, because we're human.
Thank you for that. And Michelle, is there a message that you have as it relates to publishing? There's so many individuals out there that turn books down, possibly on this topic because they don't see the importance of it or don't highlight it as, Black families being connected. Is there a message that you have from your perspective as publisher?
I love it when people don't hold back. You know, I don't think they should hold back. If you have a story, write it. You never know how it can help someone else. You can connect with so many other people, just like your audience. You know, everyone's linked some way, somehow. Share your story. It's just like when like they say in school, ask a question, because you never know. It could help someone in the class. Your story is the same thing, you know. And with publishing, I love that people are going towards self-publishing, because that's your intellectual property. That's your legacy. Your name is on that cover. That's your story, your words, your thoughts. And I'm very big on getting kids to write books, you know. It's like, you know, so many kids are shushed, you know, stay in the child's place. Yes, be respectful, but sometimes you miss a message, you know. By her writing this book with her nephew, she got his true feelings about what he thought, and she had an opportunity to explain to him why she used the terminology of timeout. She was protecting his feelings. That all that came out, all that evolved into this big discussion that needed to happen when it happened. Now look at their relationship and the platform she's on now. She's helping other families. That's why I say self-publish. Don't try to wait for book deals and all that. Like, these are your thoughts. Get them out. People can't take that away from you. That's your message. That's your message. This is my message. That's your message. Put it on paper. You know, that's it.
Thank you so much, Michelle.
You're
That's
welcome.
such a beautiful message. How can individuals be in contact with you all, Kristal? How can individuals follow you, get in touch with you, contact you for speaking engagements, or for bulk orders of the book once it is available?
Yeah, so if you guys just www.educationoverincarceration.com. Our email address is info@educationoverincarceration.com, and you guys can just email us, and yeah.
And what about you, Michelle?
You can follow me on Instagram. It's at Just Right, WRITE, the number 4, kids, KIDS. And you can email me at info@justrightforkidsllc.com.
Yes, thank you so much. One thing we did not get to talk about, which I think is phenomenal on this website, is the shop. Oh my goodness, look at these hoodies.
Yay.
This is perfect for a cool, even summer day. I was looking at these. You can wear them when that temperature goes down. And this is good, once we are able to start traveling again, even just throwing that on, having to go to the airport. And these colors are beautiful. How can individuals go about purchasing these as well? Is it only available on the website?
On the website, and then as we are able to go outside, we're going to start doing pop-up shops. So just stay tuned to our pop-up shops. My nephew is very involved. He actually just went and got some more hoodies, some more colors, some more t-shirts. He got shorts. So he's very involved in it, every step of the way. He has some socks that's coming. But yeah, so, he knows, like the kids know. So he got the Poppet Soccers. So it's some things that's coming out. But if you guys just go on the website, and then if you're local in Philly, we are going to start doing pop-up shops too.
This is definitely
Nice.
beautiful. Teen entrepreneurship, looking good out there. I mean, I'm so excited about just your study, and I'm so happy that you invited your publisher, as well as a piece that we just don't get to see.
Yeah.
And so many people are afraid of, when they hear that term, it just sounds like something scary.
Yeah.
So I feel like we've operationalized it in a way that will allow everyone to do what you said, Michelle. Get your story out on paper. Just get it out. And
For
it's
sure.
cathartic that
sure.
it actually help in advancing the family bond. I really want to thank you both for the bottom of my heart for your participation. And I know that this is just the start of a lifelong relationship, which I said during the interview in Philly as well. So I'm happy to see you all. I hope that you are able to engage in all 3 days of the conference. And again, it's just the start. So when I start reaching out, don't go hiding.
No. And then
That won't
anything
happen.
to just share with my network, just send it on over and I'll share it.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Thank you all so much. And again, for our viewers out there, I really hope that you scour the website, understand the story. If you are out in Philly or you travel and go there after we are done with quarantine, please make sure that you are able to go to those pop-ups, follow them both on their social media handles. But more importantly, get involved. If you could purchase, more than 10 books to be able to give to individuals that would also be important. So please don't just keep these amazing resources for yourself, but get them to share with others, because they have been created with love and direct experience. Godspeed. Peace.
Thank you.